Okay, this is a quick review on the exponent rules. So if you'll take some notes on the back of your little half sheet, just so that you have some things to look forward. So we're going to talk about the operation and then what to do. And an example. So if the operation is to multiply, you add the exponents. So for example, x to the fifth times x squared, you just add the exponents 5 plus 2, and so it's x to the 7th. The reason you do that is because you're multiplying for the x to the 5th power is x times x times x times x times x. It's 5 x's. And then times x squared is 2 x's. So in total, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's why it looks like that. Then if you're going to divide, then you subtract the exponents. So x to the 5th divided by x squared equals x to the 3rd. And so you can see what that looks like if you expand it out. X to the 5th at the top, x squared at the bottom, and then you cancel out things that match, and then you're left with x to the 3rd. Then the last one is raising to the power. And this is where you multiply the exponents. So an example would be x to the 5th squared. And that equals x to the 10th. And the reason why is because x to the 5th squared is x to the 5th times x to the 5th. So I would have 5 here and 5 here. So altogether you have 10. So that's why you just multiply. It's kind of like backwards distributing a little bit. So you multiply to get x to the 10th. Those are some basic operations. What else do you need to know? You need to know if you end up with something to the first power, that's the same as just the variable, so you don't have to include that 1. If you have something to the 0 power, that equals 1. And if you have something to the negative 1 power, that means 1 over x. So if you had y to the negative 3 power, that would be 1 over y cubed. Or if you had 4 over x to the negative 2 power, that equals 4x squared. So that can move up, or this can move down. Basically, what I used to tell my kids is when you have the negative exponent, wherever it is, you could just put that whole little group on the other side of the fraction bar. So if you have a negative exponent at the top, just throw it down to the bottom. If you have a negative exponent at the bottom, just push it up to the top. I had a lot of kids that would just rewrite their stuff so that that made sense. Okay, so on the front, we're going to go through a few of the examples. I'll give you some guidance as we go here. So starting back with some multiplying. So for number 1, if you're going to multiply, you just add the exponents. So that would just be y to the 8th. Number 2, when you're dividing, you subtract them. So that's just x cubed. Something like number 4, if you have m squared on top and m squared on bottom, it's kind of like they just cancel out. You're left with just 1. Another way you could look at it is you would have to subtract them. So 2 minus 2 is 0, and to the 0 equals 1. Whenever there's numbers involved, like this 16 and 4, you just divide them like normal. So you can reduce that to 4 x to the 4th over x cubed. And then I'm going to let you take care of those x's there. Let's do something with a negative exponent. Let's look at number 10. So like I was saying, you can just, if it's a negative exponent, put it on the other side before you move on. So I'm going to rewrite this with my negative exponents on the other side. So I just moved this one up. I'm going to move this one down. And then everything else stays where it's supposed to. I'm not sure if I got it all. Okay, so I moved the x7 down. It's right there. Kept the y squared, kept the z. 16's at the bottom. Kept the x, moved the y cubed to the top, and kept the z. Okay. And then from here, you can cross out things. So the z's cancel because they're the same. This would reduce to 1 over 4. And then my y's, this means to multiply, so I add them. Like them being next to each other means you're multiplying them. So you add the exponents. So this would be y to the 5th. And then the x is on the bottom. I have 7 there and 1 there. So that would be x to the 8th. And then again, you don't really need this 1 right here. This would be your final answer. I really think that you can probably do the rest of them on your own. So what I am going to do is show you a little word bank, or I'm sorry, an answer bank. Okay, so you're welcome to pause the video here so that you have this answer bank to kind of finish up the rest of this. And then once you get done with this, you can keep it if you need the notes for the rest of this little section, or you can turn it in. Just make sure you turn this paper in before you leave and do the game. All right, thanks guys.